Welcome to Grit and Grace, the place where grit shapes you, grace carries you, and friends walk beside you through it all. I'm Pam Rader, and along with my co-hosts Erin Payne and Brian Thiessen, we're here to laugh, cry, and tell the truth about what it means to be fully human. Think of us as your old friends. We share real stories, a little cowboy logic, and transformational tools. Because here's the thing, life's gonna kick your ass sometimes, but it'll also invite you to rise. And when you've got grit and grace and a few good friends, you will get through it all. So pull up a chair, grab your coffee, and buckle up. Hey everyone, welcome back to Grit and Grace with Pam Rader and my good friend Erin Payne.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
We got a great topic for you today. Both Erin and I have been going through a lot of firsts since we're both in the midst of separation, family separation. I'm also an empty nester now. A lot of things are changing, and we were recognizing that it's been a long time since there's been so many firsts for us. And there's probably a lot of you out there who are going through firsts, whether you've had a job change, you're empty nesting, you've maybe had a divorce or separation, perhaps, your life has just shifted. Maybe there's a health crisis that's going on, or there's been a loss and there's grief. And there are some firsts that you're going through. And that's what we want to talk about today. Erin, get us up to speed on some of the firsts that have been coming up for you.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting year. I separated last year at this time, and I've had lots of firsts, and they've been super uncomfortable. So, single momming and taking care of my children for more of an extended period of time by myself, that has been a first for me. Of course, I would have times where my ex would be gone for a few days, and so that was fine, but he would always come back, and actually he was very much a dad that was involved. So, to go now to these kind of big moments or big spans of time where I'm single momming has been very difficult. Another first for me has
Well,
been
hold on.
making my own
I
money.
just, before you go into the next first, I want to just talk about that. So, like, you have to expand your capacity so much. And this is something I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for. Like, when we are going through, like, oh, there was two of us, now there's one of us, we suddenly have to expand our capacity by 50%. That's
Mhm.
massive. I mean, even just trying to implement one new habit for people, like to make their bed or drink enough water, just about sends them over the fucking deep
Yeah.
end. So, and all of a sudden, we have to expand our capacity, like double our capacity. Like, did you have doubt about your ability to do that?
I never had doubt. I actually sailed into it thinking it'd be no problem, and then it was really fucking hard until it wasn't anymore.
Hmm.
So there was just a span of time, and it was like a few months where it was just, "Whoa, single momming is a thing that is
It is
very
not for the faint of
difficult."
heart. I remember it, and
Not at
I am
all.
so, like, I have such respect for every parent out, single parent of any kind out there doing it on their own. It is when you don't have somebody to like tag your it for 5 minutes, even, it is so hard.
Yeah, single parent. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, and you had
So
another
that was the first for
example.
me. Well, money in many ways has been a first for me. I mean, I made my own money for sure in the past and I've had businesses for sure, but I have to rely on myself to provide the masculine money, the money that I need to live for me and my children now. And I mean, of course, my ex is very generous and that's besides the point. And so making some big spendings that I didn't have anyone to consult and I had to kind of just do it my own way. That was another first. And there have been some heartbreaking moments actually in that
Yeah.
for sure.
You know, the financial aspect there's a first for me too. I'd love to say that my ex is also generous. He did the bare minimum and paid the mortgage for the first 6 months after he kind of blindsided me, but he doesn't want to do that anymore. And so we've negotiated for me to take over the entire mortgage, all the stuff with the house and everything in exchange for me not selling the house, or for me being able to have a couple years before I decide to sell the house. Now I just signed the new mortgage, and it was the first time that I've been solely responsible again for, 19 or 20 years. And I did have some doubt about like, am I going to be able to do this? I have felt fear and scarcity come up, and I really wanted to just be rescued. Like the human part of me just wanted to be rescued. I know that I am capable of creating that container of creating the and generating the income that I need. I'm very good at that. I've done it in the past. And then there's this resistant part of me that's like, really, again, I don't want to. So, some of these first, it's like I didn't see myself having to do that at this age. And so there's a little bit of grief tied up in it too, because I'm grieving for the girl who's been hustling her whole life, who didn't really want to have to hustle again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That grief is a real thing. I'm grieving for the part of me that never thought I'd have to do this. Just
Yeah.
like you just said, that part of me that thought this was gonna work out, and I don't have it anymore. But that must have brought up some serious, I don't know, some feels for you, some emotions for you.
I was immediately like kind of looking around for security. Like I just want security in every way.
Yeah.
And if I perceived talking with my guy like that there was any kind of wavering in any tone of his voice for some reason, and then I'm looking for things that aren't even there, and I didn't realize it's not about him. It's not about anything else even. It's just the fact that my sense of security was really rocked. I feel uncertain about my ability, my capacity to expand into that role again. I intellectually know, but my nervous system's like, could we just have a second? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
we've just
Let me
doubled our
catch up.
capacity here. Is there
Yeah,
could I take a breath
instantly.
before you do this again? And the answer is no, you don't get to. But then we look for external causes of our discomfort, and we look for, in my experience anyway, look for other people to soothe us and things around us to soothe us, but that's not the way. We just have to feel it and ask for help if we need it, but we really do just have to feel it. It's these firsts are going to come up, and some of them will be exciting. I love falling in love again.
Oh my gosh, so do I.
So
It's
fun.
amazing.
It's so good. I love first going places with this new person and, like, doing all the things that we do. There's a lot of firsts, our first trip together, first those things are fun, but then there's been a lot of firsts that were just downright horrible, like my birthday.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. So we had my birthday, and I normally, for the past many years, it was a big celebration, and I have to say my ex-husband was very good at always planning something really lovely and making a big dinner for everyone and including my kids, and I felt compelled to, like, create a big birthday bash for myself. So I, rented a party bus, invited my friends up, we went to the OK Corral. It was a lot of fun, but that was, like, a few days after my birthday. On my actual birthday, it was the middle of the week. I had dinner with my parents, and I came back to my house by myself, and I just cried. And it was effing depressing. It was
I can
just
imagine.
sad, and I thought, "Now I know why people avoid things like this."
People don't like the holidays. They don't like their birthdays,
Mhm.
especially if you're alone.
Now you did something on your birthday this year that I was part of.
Yes, I did. Well, I don't like, I watched you have that struggle, and thank you for sharing that. And I got started getting closer to my birthday and closer to my birthday, and I was like, "My mom is gone." We usually have a family thing, right? My mom is gone. My sister's very much in her life right now. It's not a good time. My little sister lives in Switzerland. Like, I was staring down the barrel of being by myself, and so I got the fuck out of there,
Yeah.
and I came to see you.
Yeah,
And I
yay.
basically and I don't like do I don't this is just my people pleasing nature, but sometimes I struggle with, "Hey, I'm coming. I'm inviting myself," even though you've told me many times, just it doesn't matter. But I was like, "Nope." I picked up the phone, "Pam, I wanna come to see you for my birthday." So I did. So I made a new ritual doing that, and I think it's a pretty dang good ritual. And I love
Love
the
it.
idea of doing something new like that, but it was the best thing I could have done. I'm like, "I'm out of here, everyone."
Well, this is what I was sort of thinking about was that, you know, yes, we're going to have that coming apart in the nervous system, reactivity and grief. And then there's this sweet opportunity perhaps to look and say like, I know most of what I've done at Christmases and birthdays, it's sort of default, what I was taught, what we always do. But there's this opportunity when everything comes apart to be at ground zero and go, what would I actually really like it to look like? And can I create new rituals that are more aligned with the woman that I am right now? And
Yes.
I also loved that ritual. I was like, I want to spend birthdays with you all the time. That was so fun.
Yeah, it was amazing, and we'll see you next year.
Yay. Yay. I know. And now we're staring down the barrel of Christmas. And you have kids
Mhm.
and it's maybe a back and forth thing. That was a challenge for my whole life having to share the kids. And, we did very well at it. My second husband, Rob, and I did that. But last year I changed it up. I said, Rob, they're all adults. And it's silly that they go back and forth between my house and your house when we get along just fine. Do you think you and your lovely lady could just come to my house for dinner so we could all be together? And he was like, sure. So that was another first, like a new ritual. Cause I mean, we've been divorced for 22 years or something. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and the kids appreciated that so much that they didn't have to do so much back and forth. And it's a new ritual. Wouldn't have told you that we would get there at any point, and here we are. So, what are some other firsts? So, we got financial firsts, birthdays, we got Christmases with back and forth. What are some other firsts that we encounter when we've got loss or change?
The big firsts that have had this year, like, dating was really interesting, and it
Yeah.
was very destabilizing, really,
Yes.
to know myself in it, to not just to be understanding who I want and who I wanna call in and who I wanna spend my time with and, you know, flushing through or that's the wrong word, but working through all the messages that I would get, just being inundated and then being disgusted and going off of a dating site and wondering why I even would need to go on one. It was a real journey and people, can sit on their glass throne and say, "Well, why are you dating now?" or "Why do you need to do this?" and all of that. But for me, it was a journey just of discovering my own light and my own shadow and doing what at one point I felt like, "Okay, I'll go on a few dates to break up my weekends," right?
Mhm.
Well, starting to do that and having messages coming in and all of these men that like trying to like sort through and I'm just like I cannot even with this cuz some men are want other things and some men want this and it's just like what am I doing?
Right?
And then when I was facing, like, actually having a date with someone that I liked, well, I was so destabilized, I barely knew how to do it.
I did the same thing. Like, I went on a few first dates, and this was my thought process. That man will never kiss me. And
Yep.
then I met, you know, like the cowboy, and we just hit it off so well. But I didn't even know how to be me. I had no idea. I didn't know who I was. I was like a teenager. I was 2 minutes out of my marriage. Not 2 minutes, but it
No.
was, like it's only a few weeks really, like a couple months. And it took like him being like, I know you're in there, but I can't date this woman. Like who and so then it was the first time I ever got like my heart broken on like for a date, like I went dated someone and they broke up with me. I was like, that's never happened to me before.
What is this? What
What
is
is
this new
this?
sensation?
What is this new sensation? And it was necessary because it helped me come back to myself. To be like, "Who am I really? Like, why am I don't know. I think I was trying to impress or something. I don't know what it was, but I wasn't me." And so there was the first, like that I was interested in, and then the first getting broken up with, which sucked really
Yeah.
hard on the ego, FYI.
Yeah, that is not fun.
No.
That is not fun getting ghosted. Not fun.
No, and then the first time of really claiming my own autonomy and sovereignty, because during that time, and whether it's about dating or keeping my house or what to do about my relationships or my businesses, there's a lot of advice coming at us out there. And there's a lot of, I mean, I call it Instagram advice or YouTube university advice. And for some reason, we give it a lot of weight. But in our humanness, could we not just allow ourselves the grace to be messy and ridiculous while we're dating the first time, and to be disgusted and turn the dating apps on and off and wonder what the heck we're doing, and then basically lock ourselves in the bathroom so we don't strangle our own children when we're single momming? And could we just have the grace to be real and messy, and also to recognize there's no right way? Like,
Mhm.
when you're going through these firsts, there's no right way. Have some grace and compassion for yourself, and then don't let other people influence you as to how you do it. You get to choose, like, how do I wanna do this? And if you make a mistake, so what? So what?
Yeah. So, you were talking about meeting yourself in it.
Mhm.
And that is essentially that's what I felt like I was doing. Like this moment is showing me a part of myself, and who is this part of myself and how do I relate, or who am I in this? And that's how I felt it was. It's really how I felt it was. Like I was literally dating my own shadow and my own light this whole time. It's been really fascinating to understand myself in love outside of my old relationship that was a 13-year relationship, and starting to learn who I am now and how and what I want and who I want and how I want to be, what I want to call in. So I totally understand what you're saying about like meeting myself in all of this is just this
What's
beautiful
interesting is all
thing.
these firsts are like mirrors for us, right? That get held up
Mirrors.
that we weren't really looking at, because before, like when we're just in our patterns and we're in a stable kind of relationship or whatever, even if it's not stable, it's just what we're used to, or a job, or, like routines that are just usual for us. Our birthdays, we always go to mom's house or whatever it is. We're asleep at the wheel. We are on autopilot. We are in default mode. Now, I think I've told this story maybe way back on the podcast, but it was like a moment in my life that really jarred something open for me. So I was taking my dogs in the back of my car to go to a walk around Shannon Lake, which was near my house. And I thought, oh, you know what? I need to get a couple groceries. So I'll just whip to the grocery store first. That'll be in the back of my car, and then we'll stop on the way home. So I go to the grocery store, I get whatever I needed to get. And then before I know it, I'm back in my driveway and I have not taken the dogs for a walk. And I thought, wow, I was completely on autopilot. And autopilot will always take you home. It will always take you to wherever is familiar, but it will never take you anywhere new.
Ugh.
And yet we complain about being unfulfilled and like restless and all of these things. And so, if we can start to look at these first, as destructive as they feel, as like wake ups from, like, shake up, wake up from the default, from the automaticity of our lives, then we can say, God, it's like somebody threw cold water in your face. It doesn't feel very good. But then you go, wait a minute, how do I want to create this? Like, I just got out of the matrix.
Yeah. I just woke up from the
I just,
Matrix.
yeah, I just woke up. And so,
Yeah.
I get to
Yeah.
do whatever I wanna do, and if we do that from the perspective of, if no one was watching, if I wasn't managing other people's perceptions of me, if I wasn't worried about what other people thought about what I'm doing, how would I create this? And the answer is way different. Like, you getting on a plane to come to me was a totally you decision. You
Yes.
weren't worried about pleasing other people. In fact, it probably pissed a couple people off.
Yes, exactly. Total me decision,
Yeah. So
and
these
I loved it.
firsts, as painful as they are are also they are the grit that, allows us to come into a little bit of grace for ourselves and then to create something more authentic and in alignment. And that more authentic thing might be, hey, I can't do this by myself. I need some support. That more authentic thing might be like, actually, I don't want to be responsible for this. What else could I do instead? Like I'm looking at my house and all the things I have around me and I'm like, I wanted to keep it and I do, but my life would be so much simpler if I didn't. And I'm considering that now, you know? Like what does that look like? If I'm not if I'm going to if I'm going to move on, that disappoints a lot of other people. My kids, my parents, all of that would love to see me stay here. And yeah, it would be great if I could easily, but it's also much easier for everything in my life if I move on. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but also even making that decision is a first.
Well, that's a big one too.
And I would also say that when we're facing firsts of any kind, we're always going to wind up abandoning or betraying or disappointing someone else. And you know what? No one dies from that.
Yeah. The best thing you ever said, one of the best things was no one's soul got hurt from that, or no one's
Yeah.
soul got
No one's
damaged
soul
from
was
that.
harmed by
Oh,
that.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
right. No souls are being harmed.
No
I
souls are
love
being
that.
harmed in the making of this birthday,
Yes. In the making of my new life.
right? No souls are being harmed. We have to remember that our souls are whole and perfect and complete and untouchable. And this earth school, being human, we make mistakes, but at no time is our soul ever harmed. And so, like, live your life and strive to live it for you. Now, what are some firsts that you anticipate coming up as you step forward? Like, you're going to move out of this shared space that you have with your
Yes.
ex. And it'll be the first time that you are solely on your own. Does that
Yeah.
strike fear into your heart?
Not anymore. It really strikes excitement. Now, I don't know what it's gonna be when I get to that juncture. There's no guarantees, and I might be calling, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm scared as hell, but right now I'm super excited, and actually some of the uncomfortable experiences that I've had, particularly through people judging my living situation and me judging it ultimately, because that's what judgment is. I've really got to what I really want, which is I want to move to Sylvan Lake finally and have a place in Sylvan Lake. That's what I wanna do, and so I'm super excited about that right
Mhm,
now.
mhm,
And you're right, it's gonna be the first time because I still live like, my boys live in the house and my ex and I move in and out. So I still have a lot of financial support from my ex, and it's
mhm.
great. I'm very grateful for it. But when I move out and we start to split the custody 50-50, 1 week on, 1 week off, then I'm responsible for even more, for
Yeah.
the money that I need to be making sure is coming in so that I can support my children, myself, my house. So, yeah, it's gonna be a big deal, but right now in this moment, I'm super excited for it. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, that's an exciting first.
Yeah,
I booked a vacation to Mexico with my guy, and we're going. And that's a first to get to go away with my boyfriend.
that's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, but also it didn't come without, there was guilt and it's like, should I be spending money right now? Should I be like, what is all of that? And then I was like, how do I want to create my life? I want to do the things that are aligned for the woman I'm becoming, for the next phase of my life, what I want to experience. And that requires that I let go of giving a rat's ass what anybody else thinks about what I'm doing. Now, that is also disconcerting for our nervous system. The first time we set boundaries with our family about what they have, where their input can be or not. And when we have big changes in our lives, we often find ourselves having to create boundaries for the first time with friends, with neighbors, with family members, like what's okay and what's not okay. And when
Boundaries
we
are a real thing. Yeah.
boundaries are a real thing and they can be really tricky in terms of we know we need to put the boundary in, but the person who benefited from you having none is going to grow 3 heads when you put that boundary in. So not only do you feel guilt for putting a boundary in because maybe we're people pleasers who have never done that, but then you get negative reinforcement for putting the boundary in because the person you changed the game and you didn't ask permission. And so I think that when we talk about first, when we're creating boundaries and saying what's okay and what's not okay, boundaries are just to keep our peace in. They're not to keep other people out. And to recognize that it's going to be icky and uncomfortable and other people aren't going to like it very much. And you change the game and it's going to make some friction in relationships. But on the other side of all that friction is your peace.
And really, peace for the other person too, because then they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. One of the biggest places that I've had to put boundaries in are just like with complaints that people bring to me, like family stuff, and families complaining about this person or that person. And I got myself kind of caught up in it too. Then you're just like kind of in this low grade grumbling communication. And I finally had to say, like, if you have a complaint about that person, you should go talk to that person. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. And that caused a little bit of friction. But then ultimately, there's peace for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, in the end.
And I had to learn to be strong in being able to hold those kind of boundaries and to get used to have the courage to be disliked for a minute.
Mm,
And I
yep.
think actually that that's what it will take to live an authentic life, isn't it? To have the courage
Yes.
to be disliked.
Yes, because 'cause you're gonna piss somebody off. And
Yeah.
it's exhausting trying to not piss anyone off. It's literally exhausting and you just lose yourself. At least that's what my experience was. You
Me
just
too.
lose
You
yourself.
completely lose yourself.
Yeah.
But then there's this other kind of the other side of that, and maybe this is off topic, but the pendulum swings when we go, I'm not going to be a people pleaser anymore. So then all of a sudden we're demanding and we're
Yeah.
deserve and I this and that. And we have to have a look at that too and go like that's just a reaction to people pleasing to the I don't want to be a people pleaser turns into I'm dominating,
Mhm. And angry, because
and
there's a lot of
angry.
anger underneath people pleasing, like a lot, right?
Resentment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so much. But so we might try on different identities and then go, "Oh, that's a first for me, but that's not really who I am." That's okay
Yes.
too. I had a first recently that I'd love to chat about, and it was, getting up on a stage to speak, and it was the first time that I was not there to entertain, and I
Mm,
hadn't realized that that had been my MO. I wanted to be validated before and yeah, obviously add value to people and hopefully help people and all of that for sure. But it was previous to that always about, well, what did that look like to other people? And it was the first time that I got up and felt completely authentic and had no desire to entertain. And I thought, wow, this is what it feels like to be aligned. I like that. How did I get there? What did I do to lead up to that? And how can I do more of that? And I think that the reason I'm just sharing this example is sometimes we'll get it wrong in these firsts and it'll feel awful. And that's great. And every once in a while, we also get it right.
mm.
And I think it's important to ask, like, what went well about that? Why did it go well? And how can I do more of that to reinforce those habits?
You know what's coming up for me right now as you're talking is it's almost like the grit of what you have just been through, and we're talking like dark night of the soul stuff, has in that so it has helped you understand your value. And
Mhm,
in that moment, you were in where you are valued and where you where your value is. And
mhm.
I was that's just what was coming to me. It's like, so you were so comfortable in that, and how do we get that value? We get it from the grit,
Yeah.
the sand,
It just
the
rubs away all
discomfort.
the parts of not us and all the parts where we're chasing and
Yeah.
seeking and striving and pleasing and all the things that we do to get love. And maybe it wears us down to the point where we're so tired that we gotta get out of our own way and all that's left is real.
Well, that's a yoga class, right? By the
Yeah.
end of the yoga class, you're so exhausted, you're just getting out of your own way. And it's just liberating and free, and all that's left is your life force, your vital energy is all that's left.
Yeah.
And then it has a chance to come out.
Yeah.
So I really see that as a part of how that happened for you, that you were able to get up on that stage as exactly who you are, is because you've burned down, or your life experiences have burned down a lot of shit, and you've come out of the fire as the piece of, alchemized.
And I think that's something so beautiful for everyone to think about is like,
Yes.
who am I becoming because of what's happening in my life? Because of this loss, because of the
Yeah.
grief, because of the change, because of the uncertainty. How am I being shaped? How am I like what can and really like we give it all meaning. We say things like, "Oh, it shouldn't be happening and I didn't deserve this." But like what else could it mean?
Mhm.
Could it mean that you're being forged for something great? Could it mean that you're able to let go of inauthentic ways of being and become more aligned? Could it mean that you're more resilient than you think?
Could it mean that your capacity has just doubled, and all of the sudden your ability to love out in the world is 10 times, like, on a tenfold? And I think that's what happens, and I don't know for sure, but when we experience a great loss of another human in our life, once the grieving process has kind of gone through a little bit, and you've gotten a little bit past that, well, all of a sudden your capacity, you can love at a different level, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think when we're faced with mortality, we suddenly like a lot of the petty resentments that we have, a lot of the things that we thought were important maybe don't seem so important. And I don't know how it is for other people. So I would never speak for other people, but for me,
Yes, me neither.
each time that I've gone through loss, even the loss of a marriage, not just the loss of humans, I've lost lots of
Yes,
people in my life. It
yes.
reminds me how precious this time here is and that it's mine and I don't get it back and that the choices I make are mine. And what if I were going to put anything into this moment and when we're faced with the first of any kind? It's like in yoga class, I often say to people, like, you know, could you bring your front knee to 90 degrees? And, maybe a tenth of the people in the class do it. And I'll say something like, well, here's an interesting way to look at it. You could go to 90 degrees. And if it's uncomfortable, you could get out, but then you got there. Or you could rationalize, justify, and defend why you don't, but you never get this moment back ever again in your life to see what was possible. So you could live into the potentia of this moment, into the infinite possibility by just like going for it, or you can live in your reasons.
Mhm.
If you justify, rationalize, and defend why you don't do things, the prize is that you get to keep your limitations.
Yeah, you get to keep being where you are.
And so I think about when we're thinking about first, it's like, if I were to put anything, insert something into this moment, because I never get this moment back, wouldn't it be love? Like, just wouldn't it
Just
be love?
it
What
just
would
makes my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, what would love have me do right now? What would love say right now? What would love look like here? And it might be forgiveness. It might be just keeping our mouth shut instead of judging somebody. It might be
Listening.
asking for help that we need. It might be saying, I love myself so much that I'm going to take myself on a holiday, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Or coming to someone in your life with a vulnerability, like, you can look at that and think, "Okay, that person's weak." Or you can look at that and say, "Whoa, look at the strength it took to come to someone and say, 'I am hurting,' or 'This hurt me,' or 'I don't understand why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, but it's showing me a piece of me that is a wound.'" And bringing that to someone, I think is a great strength, and it's to me, that's the ultimate. It's like, to me, that's self-love in action.
Self love when you speak your truth. Yeah. And for a lot of
Yes.
people, that will be a first.
Yes.
To speak vulnerably, like these times when life breaks us down, it sort of forces our hand somewhat into that.
Yes.
Like it's either that or isolation and addiction of some sort, work yourself to death, shop yourself to death. whatever, complain yourself to death. There's a myriad of addictions that we all
Mhm.
succumb
It is
to. If
leaking life force, leaking,
Yeah,
leaking.
leaking life force if we don't start to true up and get real and authentic with ourselves.
Like
And
that.
so these firsts that trigger, maybe it's the anniversary of a loved one's death. Maybe it's their birthday, not just your birthday. And these these triggers are treasures that we can look at and like what new, feel what you feel. What new ritual would you like to put in? And like you only get this moment, so wouldn't you have that ritual be something that came from love?
Well said. I don't even know what if I can add anything to that. I love
Yeah.
it.
So
I
what
love
new
it.
rituals, I don't know, I've been thinking about Christmas and I don't know. I'm part of
I
me
was
wants to
gonna
skip it.
I
Part
was
of
gonna
me
bring Christmas up to you right now. Like, what are you thinking about Christmas?
Yeah, I
'Cause here it
I
comes.
have put Christmas on every year for well, Nick is 32, so 32 years. I don't think I mean, maybe 1 or 2 in there that I went to my parents' house or something, but I have cooked Christmas dinner, made a big family Christmas for 32 years.
Mhm.
And I don't know that I love to spend time together, but I feel like it's time to pass the baton to my kids and let them take that over, and I could just be I don't wanna control it anymore. I don't wanna feel the stress of it anymore. And so I'm not sure what that looks like. So this year it might be just something that shakes it up. Maybe I don't stay home for Christmas. Maybe I don't know what it looks like, but I know that I want to disrupt that because I feel very strongly like my work is done there. And I'm not gonna just do it out of guilt and like, "Oh, it should be that way because," and, all of that. It's like, "No, I get to decide that I don't wanna have all this responsibility anymore." How about you? What's gonna change for you?
So this will be the first real Christmas that the we've been separated. Last year, we were technically separated, but we wanted to tell the boys after Christmas, just I didn't want them to have a bunch of trauma at that time of year.
Mhm.
So we waited until after Christmas. However, so now this year is gonna be the first time that we're fully split. So, of course, I find myself already wanting to schedule it. It's kind of like what you were talking about with like security and
Mhm.
safety. I'm trying to already kind of schedule it and maybe give myself a little security by putting some certainty in there. And so for the Christmas day, I'm going to have the boys. And then my ex's family always does Christmas. They're every second year they do Christmas on New Year's. So I'm trying to get a week I'll have the boys for the first week of Christmas, and then he'll have them for the second week of Christmas. So, I don't know that I'm gonna put a whole bunch of new rituals in this year because it's the first one after a kind of a breakup, and I'm gonna have a week fully to myself, which sometimes brings up guilt because it's like, am I supposed to want a week to myself? Like, I'm not supposed to feel like I want a week to myself, which is bullshit, I know. But what do I really want? Well, I wanna spend a full week with a particularly special person now. And so that is kind of what I'm moving towards. So, in terms of rituals, for me, right now, it's kinda like, well, who do I want to spend my time with and my valuable energy with? And who is gonna make me feel fulfilled? How do I feel fulfilled out in the world? What is gonna make me feel fulfilled? And manage my time according to that. And so, as far as new rituals go, we'll probably keep most of it the same. However, there's gonna be a big chunk in there where I don't have my children. So, I think I'm just gonna, like, take care of myself and love myself through that as I experience not having my children over that time.
New rituals, they're gonna come with even if it's an exciting, fun ritual that we're creating, which could be like you make a new Christmas Eve ritual or you go to your mom's house or whatever it is. It could be fun and lovely. But I think that it's going to expose to us that there is no emotion that is not tied to another emotion. and there can be grief present and sadness and nostalgic feelings
Yes.
present, right along with the joy of creating new rituals. And if we can give ourselves the grace to just welcome all of those things as we experience all of these firsts, then I think we are walking towards truth, walking towards alignment, and walking towards healing.
The sacred work in the world.
Well, I hope this conversation has been helpful to our listeners, just in terms of a framework for thinking about all that goes along with the firsts, regardless of what changes have happened in their lives. And speaking of firsts, we have our first Grit and Grace retreat coming up in April of 2026. If you would like to come and do some of this sacred work with Erin and myself and Brian, we would be honored to walk alongside of you and hold the space for grace, for transformation, for you to alchemize whatever you're going through into gold. And
Absolutely.
we're also going to have a lot of fun. So get on the wait list to get notified as soon as registration's open for that. And until next time, we hope that you can take little bits from what we've shared with you and that they help you turn some of life's grit into gold.
Stay gold, everybody.
Stay gold, pony boy.
That just came to my head. Stay gold, pony boy.